I'm I'm sorry. I think I owe everyone an apology who decided to watch this movie after listening to our discussion slash screaming of Toxic Shock. Because Toxic Shock was so much fun. It was damn near wonderful. I didn't bring it up yesterday, but I hope there's a sequel. Because they left room for a sequel. The Seed is not fun. The Seed is something that I technically made us all watch that today. Happy 87 days to Halloween. My name is Insane Raven, and this is 100 Days of Halloween. It is the daily podcast where we watch a horror movie, say, we love Halloween, and fuck you to the red pedophile in the suits. Because if Hallmark can start playing its Christmas movies now, in October, we can start watching horror movies on a daily and very disturbing basis. But yes, The Seed, a Shudder original, is what we decided to watch today. And I don't know how I feel about this movie. Like, I'm still a bit shell-shocked. Okay, so to kind of give you guys some more background, essentially, to what's happening here. I watched the movie, and then the second the credits roll, and there's not an end credit scene or something stupid like that, I hit record. So there's, like, no processing time for this podcast, because there's no time. Like, I go to work still, and I do things still. So there's absolutely no time. It's also why these tend to come out at like 11 o'clock at night when there's an hour left in the day. And that's how they'll continue to come out, because this was a last second idea. So let's talk about The Seed. The Seed is all about a trio of girls who have decided to stay at a luxurious mansion in the middle of the desert, owned by one of the girls, to witness a once-in-a-lifetime star meteor shower. And the point of this is to get footage, because they're all influencers. It's basically getting notoriety and do this. And now I'm not sure it's because I just watched Nope like 6 days ago. But watching Nope, a movie that I wish I was doing this podcast then, because it would have been within our 100 days. It's part of the reason why I decided to do this podcast to begin with. A movie about aliens and, like, spectacle, and, you know, wanting to, like, be a part of the story at any cost, and like capturing things, to then jumping over to The Seed, which has essentially all of the same themes, but with some of the most frustrating, realistic, and dumbest characters I've ever seen. Like, I genuinely don't know how I feel about this movie still. And like, I love these characters though. Like, I absolutely love and hate these characters. So, an actual quote in the movie. One of the first things you hear Deidre say as like her introduction is, "This place is bling. BLING bling." I didn't know this movie was a spelling bee when we started it, but apparently this is, because D is like the character you assume all influencers are like, and all social media people are like. And man, I don't know, like, maybe when I get successful and famous, that I can have like a 5-minute live stream and get almost 1,000 people for a 5-minute live stream. What the fuck? Like, maybe. maybe I'll be that irritating. But I hope not. I hope I can still kind of keep up this boyish and guy next door charm I have cultivated over the 8 years I've been doing this. Oh my god. Another one of her famous quotes, OMG, look at this piscina. Why? And then honestly, one of the greatest lines in any movie I think I've ever seen, or had the pleasure of listening to, is, you gotta be tough, because you know what happens to pussies? They get fucked. I can't beat that logic. That is wonderful logic. Like, that is sage advice coming out of a movie about fucking. Alien fucking. Like, okay. That's the other thing. Like, The Seed, right? It kind of has that, like, horror movie sexual tension vibe coming from it. From the jump, we all kind of knew what we were getting into. Even if you didn't know, you kind of knew, you know? And I chose this movie because it looked interesting on Shudder. Like, that is it. Speaking of which, let me very quickly just read you the description, because the description is also wrong. 3 young influencers head to California wilderness to party and film a once-in-a-lifetime meteor shower for their social media channels. What starts as a weekend away in a remote luxury villa turns into a psychedelic tale of horror, death, and an alien invasion. A Shudder original. The 3 main girls are played by Chelsea Edge, Lucy Martin, and Sophie Vavasseur. I'm assuming Sophie Vavasseur is Charlotte, who is absolutely my favorite. Oh, this movie came out this year, 2022, and was directed by Sam Walker. See, we're not just doing old, cringy sci-fi movies. We're doing movies off the presses of 2022. Look at that. Ugh, it almost makes me wish I would have planned this entire thing a bit better, but I didn't. Isn't that fun? Okay, but so Deidre is easily like my favorite character, and she's a character that like I want to love and I hate. Like, she is both like the, oh my god, my cell phone is a okay type character, but she's also the same character. Like, all right, everyone shut the fuck up. Here's what we're gonna do. And the fact that she's both is fantastic. Like, at one point, they're dealing with the alien. Of course, we've been over the alien. We're talking about the alien. The alien's in the house, and it's in like a baby swindle. Is that what they called? Like when you swaddle a baby? I know what that word is. And the alien is like staring at them, and it's like crying, and then they think it's dead. Like, it goes from like crying to like, and he's like, oh, okay, it's dying. It's just like a blob of. They think it's an armadillo. At one point, someone says a line, oh, what if a bear mated with an armadillo? And I failed a lot of my high school like science classes, except for chemistry, because I had a point to prove. But that is not how biology works at all. And I kind of love it. It's like, no, this could be what it is. Alright, man. Whatever you say. And she just pulls out like shots of tequila and just slides them to the other 2 girls. And they're like, oh, no, I don't drink. He goes, shut up, it's for the nerves. We gotta deal with this. And it's like, yes, D. Like, I don't care if you think this movie's a spelling bee for no one. But this is god tier stuff. Now, it is kind of funny how early in the movie they're like, everyone's like, man, I just need to get fucked. And they're all like, yeah. They go on Tinder, and the only guy in any, like, capacity around them is a 58-year-old named Randy, who is an actual cowboy. And they, like, let you know he's a cowboy. And he's like, actual cowboy. Oh, shit, he a cowboy. It's like, yes. cowboys. It's like, okay. And then, like, Gabriella just falls into a laughing fit. And then that's the scene. The scene moves on. He's like, yeah, we're done here. It's like, what? Yeah, no, we're done here. We're done here. We're moving on. We're moving on. And it's so weird. And my brain feels like I'm exploding trying to explain this. So, okay. So all that's going on, right? So you have 3 social media goers. Well, no, you have 2 social media goers, because it is very clear that Charlie, or Charles, as she's called, or Charlotte, as her full name is, has no social media whatsoever. She doesn't trust it. She doesn't like it. And she reads books and newspapers because she's a nerd. You know. So as soon as that gets brought up on a live stream from Dee, who she live streams for about 5 seconds, because she goes, hey, I'm live streaming, hits a button, and then it pops back up. Like, it was just gone for a second. She was probably already live streaming beforehand, and she was probably gonna, like, an intermediate stream, but, like, we're talking at most, this is like a 10-minute live stream at this point. And she has 987 people watching her. I didn't look at that because I'm a petty bitch with my 200 subscribers giving middle fingers like, hey. But she's like, yeah, I know she's hot. We're all hot. And if you like her, well, then you can, like, I don't know, DM her. Except, no, you can't, because she has no social media. And I guess you can, like, put an ad in the newspaper, or, you know, send up smoke signals, or just DM me and I'll get it to her. We're just like, whoa, D, can we not just have your DMs flooded with sexual advances to someone else? What the fuck is going on? And that's just how the movie continues. So, jumping back to the alien baby that we left, like, over there, we're gonna pack that back up. Back when they think that it's dead, and it has like a heavy ass shell, it is shown to be quite heavy. And at some point, like, it goes from the, like, over the night, and I'm pretty sure this is like night 2, because they've now done like 2 sleeping scenes in pitch black, and you're in California, so like, sun's out, guns out, motherfuckers. They have 2 nighttime sleeping scenes, but insist it's only the next day, or maybe I'm stupid. One of these 2 things, I don't know. But insist that the alien and all the meteor shower shit happened 1 day before. So while my brain's trying to wrap that, our 3 main goals are like, where'd the thing go? The thing was there and now it's gone. But it's smothered in ooze, so they just follow the ooze like a Scooby-Doo trail, and it's lovely. D over here wants to be like, hey, let's just take care of it. Grabs like that African, like, what is the African weapon called? Where, like, it's like a ball and like a bunch of teeth, and he's like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of this. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And it's like a one and done kill thing, that thing, I don't know. Well, she wants to beat this thing up to death, and she's like, hey, it's a mercy killing at this point. Like, it smells like shit. It's like, this, at one point, like, talking about it, and they're like, I think it's a block of frozen poo from an airplane that they just, like, expelled out of their system. You know, I heard a story of one time that happened to a dude in his kitchen that busted through the ceiling and killed him. And he's like, so yeah, you know, frozen shit landed in your pool. Heather, the other character who literally just is there to, like, panic and be a mom. Like, yeah, that's what landed in your pool, Heather. This is a scene in the movie that just kind of happens. It's like, what? But that's what I mean. Like, these are some of the most, like, realistic characters half the time. And the other half the time, they're just fucking cartoon characters. Hey, I knew there was a reason I picked this up after Toxic Shock. No, but I get 100% imagining, like, my little friend group being like, I mean, it's almost dead. We could probably kill it. kill it for the love. And then another one of my friends being like, but it's an animal. And it's just being a whole thing. So, like I said, I could totally buy into this shit. And it's great. And then go back to, like, saying Passini for a pool for no fucking reason. It's like, I don't know about that. So then, let's just cut forward a little bit. And now there's a 15-year-old boy. And when I say a little bit, I mean like 20 seconds later. Now there's just a 15-year-old boy covered in pimples. And he just goes, huh. And he acts as a jump scare because no one knows what the fuck's going on. And he's like, I'm here to do the lawn. My brother got sick. I'm doing lawn. Which is such an extra wrinkle. We didn't need it. So he's over here to just like hose the water, apparently. Like, I don't see what else this dude is doing. And that's all the time he has to do. Because now these 2, and definitely not a social media person, are like, hey, if you deal with a raccoon that like landed from the sky, could we like pay you to make this go away? And him being a 15-year-old boy goes, nah, that ain't a raccoon. That's a different department. Which that is going to be my go-to answer to anything I don't want to do. My girlfriend wants me to like wash dishes. Different department. I should be taking out the dog to like help her and be a decent human being. Not my department. That's a different department. That's just like, it's a different department, okay? Like, I love that. I absolutely love that. But you know, him being a 15-year-old boy is like, hey, I want a kiss. And he's like, okay, I guess this might as well happen. And so he goes to kiss Charlotte, and Charlotte's like, if you break any of the rules that we've established, I'm gonna punch you in the face. And it's like, hey, you know what? That is boundaries in a scene where absolutely no boundaries are being met. Which is, you know, good job for you. So then they kiss. This like definitely like mid-20s woman is just kissing this 15-year-old, and then like she gets really into it, and then the alien response is to go, huh? And it's like, yes, dead dog alien thing. So that's a whole thing. Because after that happens, they roast her for making out with a 15-year-old, you know, her 2 friends that like made her do this essentially. He then goes to take care of it, kicks the thing, and then springs to life and starts screaming. Just screaming like me when I have to wake up and go to my real job. Just screaming. Like, ah! And everyone's like, oh, that's a problem. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, the thing is still alive. We're not going to deal with that. And instead just do all of the drugs imaginable. Now, I don't know if it's because I am pure of heart and clean of mind. But the scene starts out with them like basically having something that looks like the pop rocks and firecrackers that you would throw and like on 4th of July and go, and you'd be like, ah, lovely. And my dumb brain was like, it's a horror movie, one of these are gonna explode in their mouths. And I was so ready to just kill off one of these characters. Like, just with the jump, I'm like, your brain's gonna explode. And she's like, yeah, let's go. That doesn't happen, unfortunately. But somehow, like, okay, so Heather and Dee are both blonde. And Charlotte is a brunette. She has long, flowing brunette hair. And yes, this is important. And let me finish my thought. And then for the scene, she just magically has a neon blue Ramona Flowers wig. And he's like, woohoo! And he's like, I've never been so high. I picked up a wig. What is happening? But, you know, it's probably for the photo shoot, which they're all like, yeah, you know, we have to do this photo shoot for, like, all the followers and shit. Even though, like, all of the phones are busted. Like, not just busted, like, oh, we can't do this. because like there's no signal. It's like glitching out like in a shitty Simulacra? How do you pronounce that game? Clone, where it's just like, oh, that's a problem. But no, they actually have a real camera, so they do bring that. And I don't see any computers, so I'm assuming the plan is just to go home. I don't know. I'm thinking way too hard about a movie. Well, an hour has pretty much gone by at this point, and not a lot has happened, but it seems like maybe a demon dog alien panda thing. Like, it really does look like a newborn panda has just like dropped onto the scene from the sky. A newborn panda that like weighs umpteen trillion pounds apparently. And we found out why later. And then that all happened. And there's another nighttime sequence. And this is the second nighttime sequence I'm talking about, where like they're sleeping. But I guess it's just because like everyone's super high and they don't know the time is. And they've like drawn windows down, I'm imagining. I'm giving this movie way too much fucking credit. But Charlotte, our leading lady, here's the thing crying. It starts crying because the 15-year-old kicked it in the chest. And I feel like this should have been the moment, or like in other horror movies, this would have been the moment where the 15-year-old just gets eaten. Just gets fucking like nommed. And I'm like, I'm waiting for it. Pimple's gonna pop like popcorn. It's gonna be great. Doesn't happen. I'm disappointed, and everyone moved on. You know, one day I'm gonna be in a scenario where like people are gonna be looking over all of the words I've said, and that's definitely gonna be one of them. No, but she brings the thing back inside, and now it looks more like a demon dog, actually. Refreshing drink. So everyone starts freaking out about that. Because now it's the morning, and they're like, oh, the thing is in the house again. Because they keep calling it the thing. They don't know what it is. They keep calling it the thing. And D, my homegirl, my favorite girl, my BLING, that spells bling, creditreport.com, baby, girl, is like, I'm going back to bed. Wake me up when this thing is dead. And it's like, great. It's crying, so she doesn't get the chance to like go back to bed. So she makes a drink of rat poison, and apparently something in this rat poison sends it off in this like little demon baby brain. And be like, "What you doing, D?" And D's like, "I'ma fucking kill you." And then they make eye contact, and it's like, "I can't kill you." And the glass drops, and apparently this is when we are supposed to understand that a connection has happened. And it's whatever. Skipping a bunch of shit, moving forward, Heather, the mom character of the trio, is freaking out that this thing is still in her house. And she's like, they've gone to bed. Her and Charlotte are like sharing a bed, as you do, gal pals. And she comes out and just sees the demon baby panda thing with like all of his intestines out, just like a giant like Cronenberg monster type looking thing, which is why the thing was so heavy, by the way, because it took all of its intestines and put it on the inside, which I'm imagining has to be like some interdimensional portal or something. It all went inside the thing's little tum-tum, and when it fell from the sky, it was a little shell. But that is all spewed out into limbs and visceral and guts and gore and shit. Which should be enough. That should be enough of a thing for the whole scene to be like, oh god. But then, apparently, D is just like having the greatest sex imaginable within all the like masses of just visceral and like guts and like tentacle claw things. It looks like the carrion has like destroyed, like, so many things. Brain can't probably function any of this. So she screams. Heather's screaming her head off. Dee's screaming her head off, but for other reasons. And this is honestly a pretty distressing scene. Like, I thought it was going to be a bit like Aliens. We were just like, oh, hey, I poked your stomach. Now you got my babies. But that's not what happened. What the fuck was that sound effect? That is how I'm teaching my kids about the birds and the bees. I poked your mom. Yo, little Timmy, you're gonna have a little sister. Oh yeah, what happened? Why, I poked your mom's belly. And it went, now you're pregnant. I was like, what's pregnant? Don't ask questions you don't want answers to. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, giant visceral gold penis tentacle monster. Right, that thing. And like, they make eye contact. Like, demon dog panda thing makes eye contact with Heather, who's freaking out about the mess, and not the fact that, like, her best friend since elementary school, because they've all been friends since elementary school, by the way, is just, like, moaning in pleasure, and her leg is, like, up in the air, and, like, it's not like you can see anything, because there's all these guts and viscera, like, all around her. And then Heather makes eye contact with the alien, the fucky alien, and she's like, I need to get a part of this, and just strips down immediately. And this is where I get confused, because up to this point, everything kind of made sense. She goes to the thing, and for some reason, every single UFO light has ever come up comes on, and it's just strobing the fuck out of everything. So I'm over here and I'm trying to hold my brain together because I just saw cute demon panda alien thing with more visceral, and like, I'm assuming that has to be his penis. I'm assuming that's what I have to take away from the scenario. But it's kind of like a sea cucumber foot. And I think it has all these little things. You know, my guardian angel, she's like staring up from heaven, looking down at me like, what the fuck, my guy? And I just want to take this moment to like look up at my guardian angel and be like, I don't know either. And I'm sorry you got assigned to me. And it's just like giving her the time of her life. So I'm not sure if it's the alien's sea cucumber penis, or it's D having emerged somehow from this, but still very much a part of the activity, goes up to caress her. And I'm not sure if it's like the penis claw D. That's a sentence. Or the alien himself, like going up to like grab her hand and pull her into it, but then she's into it, and now they're both mind fucked. Not just regular fucked, but mind fucked. And see, that's where like the earlier line from earlier in the movie makes sense now, because you see, like, they needed to get laid, and now everyone got laid. Ugh. And then, so that's a whole thing going on. And then we just move on. Charlotte gets the reel again. You're left thinking of like, oh, okay, so someone definitely died and all of that. Surprised no one dies. And you just go, I'm no one dead. And yes, that is my best Shaggy. That is my best Scooby-Doo impersonation. Please don't sue me. Also, Shudder, don't sue me. Actually, Shudder, just fucking sponsor me. Actually. Like, how many of your shows and my movies am I gonna like watch and be like, I actually really liked this and I don't know why? Like, how many? Go ahead. Sponsor me, you cowards. Yeah, so all that kind of goes on, and then Gabrielle, like, at this point we had like 10-20 minutes left in the movie, and you're like, this can't go on. And she's like, oh my god, I gotta get out of here. She starts talking to them. They're tripping balls out. Like, again, skipping a lot, just kind of like runs out of the freaking thing. And he's like, okay, I need to just go. I need to go talk to this thing. Because if I talk to this thing, I'll get answers. Because that has worked so well before. And this is like what I mean by the characters alternate from being like the most realistic characters to just being the dumbest people put to film. Like, if you saw all this was going on, you'd run the fuck away. You would just run. You would nope the fuck out. You would pull an Otis Jr., hit the little call button and be like, I ain't doing that. Well, that doesn't happen. Obviously. And we continue. The movie ends with everyone dying. Except for Gabrielle. Now, who the fuck is Gabrielle? I don't know. I meant Charlotte. Because she is final girl material, turns out. And it turns out that this is all the beginning stages of basically terraforming planet Earth for this alien species. So she looks at D, who at this point has become very much pregnant in the span of a night, because that's just how aliens work apparently. And they're fighting. And Randy, the fucking 58-year-old cowboy ranger, the only other living soul in this area, is like, the fuck's going on over there? And these two women are just like on top of each other trying to murder each other. He's like, huh? And he just like picks up binoculars and stares. And I'm over here like, oh, he just wanted to watch a mud wrestling match. That's all he wanted. Does he know that one of them is like 29 months old pregnant? Does he know about that bit? It's a whole thing. I don't fucking know, man. It's a whole thing. And then he shoots Gabrielle. Who the fuck is Gabrielle? He shoots Charlotte. And that should be the end of the movie. It should be the type of movie that has like this like downer ending. I feel like that's kind of where it was going to too. It's like, oh, we had all this fun, but sexual desire will be the underdoing. That's the word I'm looking for. Of us all, giving in to these primal urges, gives in to everything. I was like, oh, okay. That's the message. That's the horror movie message. Because that's the point of horror, right? It's supposed to like teach you things. It's why the first stories we learn as children are about boogeymen that eat up little children that don't pay attention. That's what they're supposed to do. I mean, even Toxic Shock, as terrible as it is technically a movie all about saving the environment. And I was like, oh, okay. That was a good movie. I looked at the runtime. We still have 5 minutes left to go. To put it into perspective, the whole zombie plot of Toxic Shock came in the 15-minute mark. And it stayed for 5 minutes. So anything can happen here, ladies and gentlemen. It turns out this is a fake ending. It like zooms all the way out. He's like, oh, okay, we're done. And then zooms back in. And he's like, oh, fuck. And I'm not going to tell you what happens. Not going to tell you what happens in the last 5 minutes of the movie. If you want to know, go watch it yourself. Because this is such a weird movie. I don't know if any of it is like original. I know it's like a Shudder original. But I genuinely don't know what is the thing. Like I don't know if it's an original writing by like or what the deal was. But I loved it. So go watch this movie. Go celebrate Halloween. We have 87 days left. My name's been Insane Raven, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Also, I don't know what tomorrow's movie's gonna be. It's going to be one of like two things, and I don't know which one it is. Basically, because this podcast, again, was done so last second. A buddy of mine was like, hey, if you're watching movies you haven't seen for the first time in order to celebrate Halloween, there's one movie that we absolutely have to watch, but we have to watch it together. And I was like, okay. And that is Sweeney Todd. I've never seen Sweeney Todd, and I think it's an absolute perfect way to continue this little thing. Now, if that doesn't work out, and if we don't get to watch Sweeney Todd, and I know it is a bit unfair to be like, hey, let me tempt you with Sweeney Todd. But if that doesn't work out, on Amazon Video, there is, I'm now going to just kind of like, I'm going to just swipe on my to-do list, boom. Okay. So, if Sweeney Todd doesn't work out, we are going to be watching The Collector on Amazon Prime Video. It is a movie that came out in 2009, so a bit later, but I think this might be this might be the earliest movie we've watched. So, I'm going to read you the description of this movie. So, it's either Sweeney Todd or it's The Collector. Desperate to repay his debt to his ex-wife, an ex-con plots a heist at his new employer's country home, unaware that a second criminal has also targeted the property and rigged it with a series of traps. The Collector might be what we're watching tomorrow, or Sweeney Todd. I don't think I need to explain Sweeney Todd. So, here we go for tomorrow. Thank you guys for listening. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the 86th day of Halloween.